Actually, this could be one of the pieces added to that monitoring enforcement commission, if it became part of the charter, because clearly one of the things that must be monitored are, and not just with uniformed employees, but there are persons who operate vehicles, the same person whose name comes up. So if there's a pattern and practice of inappropriate behavior from several departments, including those who are most frequently involved in city paying out large sums of money, the Detroit Police Department, DDOT, DPW, leading the list. There ought to be a way of addressing them, even while protecting the bargaining agreement rights that all employees are entitled to. Being covered by the bargaining agreement does not mean you have the right to drive a city vehicle inappropriately in ways that put society at risk, that puts the city at risk, put yourself at risk. There's some pros and cons. The pros are clearly that citizens will be able to, in any particular area, identify with their person. I know that's my person. Let me make sure that that person gets my issues. The cons are if you don't make sure that the power in council is broadened and invested with not just accountability, but authority. You can't have accountability without authority. So if a person is accountable for a district, but does not have the authority to manage and supervise a department or to handle the resources, then you'll end up with a council by district that'll basically be subjugated to cutting blue ribbons for grand openings, because they will no longer have no sitting mayor is going to want a council to have budgetary control. Every mayor that's coming since I've been here, they think council has too much control over the budget. We think we don't have enough, because after we approve the budget, then the mayor can do budget amendments, and we can't do any amendments after approval without the mayor's direction. But we can act, for example, to reopen the aquarium, as I led for the last couple of years to reopen the aquarium and bail out children's zoo. And we even put money in the budget. We can't make them do it. So if you can't add some strings to tie bar authority with accountability, then it's an exercise in futility to have districts without empowerment of the legislative body. There are a lot of pluses to having a city manager who is going to be held to a certain level of responsibility, who is responsible to the executive branch and the legislative branch. That's a scenario that works out very well in many cities. I'm not opposed to a strong mayor as long as there's a strong enough council to really provide checks and balances. There must be checks and balances. That's the whole point in having power diversity. And folks in power must use power, use it wisely, don't abuse it, don't misuse it, don't excuse it. And if you're in power, don't act like it's somebody else's job. I take a very hard line on the city council's role in this business around former Mayor Kilpatrick. And not just because I voted no. You know, that could have been a bad day for me. I might have voted yes too. But I think you take other folks' advice, but the bottom line is you're responsible. So the council could have all voted no on that $8 million settlement, which would have saved the city not only a lot of money, it would have saved the city a lot of national embarrassment. My philosophy on the current budget issue for the city is to, first of all, stop the negative naysaying. I think that no one should be speaking, preaching doom and gloom for a major city. I think also there should be an immediate trip to the White House by the mayor and his cabinet, and I think all council members should go I was very blessed to have an opportunity to go on July 24th to support my favorite initiative, which is a Marshall Plan, which I think set a new paradigm for the city. But you cannot cut until you take away the bare bones of what makes a city a city. And particularly against the backdrop of the federal government stepping in and providing so much revenue to Chrysler and General Motors that the federal government is now part owner of GM, bailing out GM in addition to Wall Street. There is no rationale whatsoever for the city, all of its leadership, not stepping up to President Barack Obama, who came from the Midwest, to say the same way that you bailed out the auto industry, you must bail out the home and the auto industry. A one-time, $1 billion bailout, which is less than Jennifer Granholm has taken, Governor Granholm, to help bail out the state's deficit. Less than that would take care of all of the immediate needs. If that happened right now, there'd be no need for budget cuts currently in this wave, no bus disruption, no layoffs. Fix the infrastructure challenges, find a plan to get the money owed, get rid of fat, waste, and things that are not necessary. But work on those things without having to do the bloodletting that comes with trying to balance a budget in an era when there's nothing left to cut. So going to D.C. should be the first step, and you have to go with a plan. They already have a plan. You don't have to reinvent that. That looks at renewable energy. That looks at the importance of repopulation. The city must be repopulated. We need to give this government-owned housing, all of it, to qualified families, which is basically those families who are in need, for $1 with no taxes for 3 years. Who wouldn't respond to that? That's a great incentive for people to move in. And Detroit still has a great housing stock. It's not going to have a great housing stock if we don't address the need to also put a moratorium on foreclosures and force the governor to do longer than 3 months. 90 days is not long enough. It should be a 2-year moratorium, which is what happened in 1929 in the Great Depression. This is a Great Depression for Detroit. And the vision and the forward progress of the city is dependent on a shortfall revenue investment right now, which is available. I know it's available because you can't make it happen for the state's deficit and not also make it available for the city's deficit. Nobody's demanding it except one council member who won't hush. It should not be one issue for one person. It ought to be clearly an issue for the highest official in the city, who is the mayor. And I know the mayor can reach the White House. He reached the White House to ask President Obama to use his power to help make sure GM didn't need the Renaissance Center. I know he did that, as the mayor told him. So if you're going to do it for GM and the auto industry, the city of Detroit is at least as important as GM and Chrysler, and it deserves that level of import in how we approach it. When you go abroad, there are only 4 cities that people outside the United States know. They know New York, they know LA, they know DC, and they know Detroit. We are a major city, and we have to act like it. We have to see ourselves as important and not just react to the negative melodramas that get paid out in some outlets. Thank God not all.